Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jerome Petry and I work with the Ministry of the Economy here in Luxembourg. And I will make a presentation about reaching SDG 12 through circular value creation, an economic imperative and opportunity. Next slide, please.
So they're just launching it as we speak. I can see my colleagues. Here we go.
Yes, I think with a little bit visual, it's easier to understand. So if you can immediately switch to slide number 2, you can.
One little second.
Yes.
And while they're fixing this, here we go. You have it there.
All right. Yes, exactly. So just as a reminder, sustainable goal number 12 is about ensuring sustainable consumption and production path. And as you can see in the next slide, please. And as I mentioned by the presenter before, there are sub-targets and there are clearly 11 sub-targets set out for SDG 12, which are set to be reached for 2030. Next slide, please. Yes, it is very clear where we are coming from. Since the Industrial Revolution, we are overspending and overconsuming the raw materials provided by Mother Earth, resulting in a disastrous situation. The overshoot day represents well the issue, with Luxembourg being the second poorest performer, having used up its own resources around mid-February. Next slide, please. The solution to this wasteful consumption is a circular economy. It's a paradigm shift from the traditional take, make, waste linear economy to a system where a product is reused in different loops in order to prolong its lifetime and finally avoid any kind of waste. The value hill in this slide concept illustrates nicely that circular business models are resetting a product's initial value in order to keep it always at its highest level. The shorter the loop is, the less you need to invest to bring the product back to its original value. Next slide, please. The different circular business models are listed in this 10R system and are divided in 3 different categories. The 3 on the top, refuse, rethink, and reduce, are pushing for smarter use of products. The 5 in the middle, reuse, repair, refurbish, remanufacture, and repurpose, are extending the lifespan of products. The 2 last, recycle and recover, are the least wanted ones, as you can only recover lower value byproducts or in the end energy from incineration. The business models on the top are preferred because they keep the value of a product at its highest level. Next slide, please. It is an economic imperative for the public hand to support the local emergence of circular economy as identified in the Rifkin report. So since 2015 and further analysis made by the Ministry of Economy, and also the report about the third industrial revolution, and that's the Rifkin report, we have identified circular economy being a foundation of all the different pillars in this strategy, and therefore the ministry, together with Lux Innovation, is supporting many different actions, such as a circular hotspot, the Fit for Circularity, the Clean Tech Cluster, and also the circular methodology for industrial zone. As also discussed this morning, data is of prime importance in today's economy and is also a big driver for circular economy business models. Therefore, the ministry has also launched a product circularity data set initiative in order to promote circular properties of products supported by an international standard allowing a third-party auditing system. More than 50 companies from 12 different countries have collaborated in the first draft of the PCDS, so the Product Circularity Data Sheet, this year, and the ministry is further supporting the second tender phase of the project to consolidate its international recognition. There's also great interest for performance service system like product as a service, where a pilot project is on the way to provide hotel interiors as a service instead of an initial buy. It has the advantage to swap capital expenditure to operational expenditure and maintain the room decoration trendy to guarantee the highest renting price for the hotel owner. Also, together with the Ministry of Finance, we are co-financing a study to support the emergence of circular business models. it is clear that a lot has to change in terms of financing, because our today's economic model is really set up to support the linear economy, where you try to sell high volumes of very cheap products. So there will have to be major changes which has to be thought through about specifically accounting and taxation. Next slide, please. So there's a real economic opportunity for companies in the circular economy, and there are already a lot of first movers in the public and private sectors in Luxembourg. There are only a few to name, big companies down to very small companies. So a lot is being done right now, and the Ministry of Economy is always there to support companies to take a step further in the circular economy. So, and then on my last slide, I just put the infographic provided by the United Nations on SDG 12, and there are already some figures of the impact of the COVID-19 crisis. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerome. So maybe just to give a little bit of perspective, if I say the 14th of February, everybody knows what this is? Valentine's Day. If I say 16th of February, no, I was very, very shocked when I prepared this panel. The 16th of February is Luxembourg's Overshoot Day. That's when we are creating a debt for the planet. And if you're curious, there's a website about this. This is second ranked, just behind Qatar. So it cannot be much worse. So my question to you, I was very shocked because we talk so much about green in Luxembourg, and all the time I thought Luxembourg is super green. You can buy clean energy if you ask it. How do you explain this bad ranking after all this buzz about Luxembourg being so green?
I guess there are different reasons for that. I think two major reasons which are just popping up in my mind like that is, first, Luxembourg doesn't have a lot of raw materials. So we cannot use our own resources because we don't have a lot of them. Second to this, I think Luxembourg is very specific because we have a lot of cross-border workers here in Luxembourg. So when you look in the day, so many people are crossing the border, and therefore, putting the number very high compared to other countries where this cross-border working effect is much lower. So maybe to give another figure, the overshoot day for the European Union is around mid of May, quite close to what is the overshoot day for France and Germany, which are the biggest representative of the Union.
So basically, it's understood that Luxembourg is very interested to invest in this green effect, but there are still a lot of progress to be made.
Yes, sure. I think in the ministry we are trying to explore a lot of different ideas. I showed that we are working on a product as a service model for hotel interiors. So we are thinking of how we should change the economic models on this. So product as a service, we believe, will help a lot circular economy, but it comes with a lot of different changes. Specifically on the ownership, because you are no longer selling something to somebody else, but you remain the owner of your own product, and you have to make sure that it performs well enough that you can take profit out of it, and it's also profitable for the one using it. So that is a big change, and we need to see how this will evolve. And I guess this will also have a big impact in the insurance business, because if the product still belongs to you, you want to be ensured that it works well, it performs well, and does that for a very long time. Also, I think there will probably be some changes to be made in accounting. I think today you use depreciation and amortization. But in the circular economy, you want to keep the value of your products and your assets at the highest. So maybe there should be a rethinking of that system to see how we can value these products in a balance sheet. And then also taxation, I think there's a lot of thinking going on, saying that today work is taxed very highly and resources are almost not taxed at all. So people are thinking that to promote circular economy, we should maybe rethink our taxation system based on worker and resources.
Super. I have one last question, and if I look at the clock, we will have time to take a question from the audience. So if you have a really sharp question, get ready. The floor is going to be yours in 2 minutes. My last question, we published very recently an article about George Orwell in Duke magazine. Maybe you know him from 1984. This dystopian universe. But the reason why we published it is this guy was fascinated about propaganda and how to fight it. It was already a very interesting time. And there's a lot of literature from him about against abuse of language from politicians. And when I had a look at the United Nations action point, if you look at the language about the circular economy, it is absolutely vague. And don't you think that this does not help to set clear goals and to achieve measurable results?
Measuring the circular economy is one of the big topics out there. I think there are more than 130 different metrics which are being set up internationally to see what are the best ones to really measure circular economy. Today there's no one, I would say, winning. But as I showed in one of the slides, there are already 10 defined business models, and there are probably even more. So it's probably very difficult to give concrete goals in the circular economy. And to go back to the start of your question, I think the United Nations goal are really high-reaching goals to really, I think, end poverty, end hunger, and inequity. But it should be done in a sustainable way, and circular economy will be surely one path to do that. How you do it is probably not so important, but really to thrive to go there, I think, is key.
Okay, thank you very much, Jerome. So does anyone has a great question? And I'm also checking online if we're getting questions. Not yet. One time. I didn't bring my hammer, but 2 times. Okay, if there's no question, I would like to thank you, Jerome, for your presentation. And I wish a great conference to everyone.